I feel so awkward. It's like when I go a while without making a video, I almost feel awkward making a new one. It's like I forget how to make them. After a while, it's like I don't know how to act anymore, and I don't know how to do the lighting, and I don't know how to do anything, and it's only been like a week and I already forgot everything. I feel awkward. I feel like a new kid in school again or something, trying to like introduce myself all over again, like, hey. It's been about a week since I've made a video, so obviously, yeah, Vlogmas did not happen. It just didn't, because I couldn't. This past week I've been really sick and overwhelmed and tired and so I just have not been able to find a single moment where I could make a video. I just felt so bad all week. So there's that. Yes, I'm a grandma now. You know, they say when you're really stressed, your hair turns gray. Well, look how stressed I am. Also, I got a new camera. I have no clue how the audio sounds on here, so I'm really hoping I don't ruin this whole video by having terrible audio or something. I will literally want to jump off a cliff if that happens, but no big deal. No big deal. So let's get to the topic of the video. Basically, since I started working at a chain pet store almost 2 years ago, I've had questions from then until now about why I was working there, how it is, if people should work there. You know, people are like, I love animals, should I work at this store, blah blah blah. It took me a while to feel comfortable enough to make this video, because since I was employed there and I worked for this business, I don't know what I can and can't say. I don't want to get in trouble or, you know, sued for slander or something. I don't know how these people work, okay? So it took me a while because I really wanted to make sure that when I made this I worded everything correctly and I didn't get the wrong impression across. So for that reason, I'm going to say that I worked at a store called Pet Schmo, and everything I say in this video is about Pet Schmo and chain pet stores like Pet Schmo. Does not mean that I have any specific store in mind. My first big complaint about working at Pet Schmo is they were like really cheap, and they couldn't make their own shirts. They were so cheap that they just, you know, copied from some other random chain pet store and just scribbled it out and wrote Schmo. So yeah, their outfits kind of sucked. Now, let me just let you know that this is not going to be a video where I'm just all angry and mad and telling you every single bad thing that happened somewhere just so we can all just be mad about it, okay? That's not the angle I want to come at this. I don't want to be, you know, angry and mad and let's just all yell because of these bad things that happened. There's no reason for me to make a video just to anger people, get them all fired up, fill my comments with negativity and arguments. There's just no reason for that. And while yes, there are things that I did disagree with while working with this company, that does not mean that being angry is going to solve anything. Coming from an angle of anger is not going to solve anything in this situation about the things I disliked about Pet Schmo. It's not. So please, if you get angry or agitated, or, you know, if I trigger you about the animals and the animal rights, take a breath and think about how you can actually help this situation rather than just being angry. Okay? So let me just go ahead and get started. I'll start from the beginning about why I decided to work at a pet store, because a lot of people ask me, how could you work at a pet store if you really love animals? How could you do that? So yeah, let's start from there. I was 17 when I got my job at Pet Schmo. I needed a new job. I have medical problems and therefore I cannot really work at a restaurant or fast food chain or anything like that because I'm allergic to wheat. And if I were to expose myself to wheat at a restaurant or, you know, fast food daily, that's just asking for me to possibly get sick. So I felt the safer route would be avoiding fast food chains. Needed a job, a part-time job somewhere where someone was gonna hire me. My first thought really was either to work with children or to work with animals, because I love animals and I'm really good with kids. I really love animals, so I went with animals. I needed a job, it was a job, and a job with animals was very much preferable to me. So there you go, that's why I chose to work there. The reason I bring this up is because within the first 2 weeks, I already had this random customer come in and follow me around the whole store for 45 minutes, yelling and harassing me about the animal care in our store. Now, the reason he was upset was because there was a story in the news about a Pet Schmo in California that had thrown out like living lizards or something. Like something terrible, of course, but he was mad at me about it. And he, you know, harassed me and prevented me from doing my job for almost an hour about something I had no business doing, and no one in my store had business doing that or anything like that. So it is important to realize that there are good and bad stores out there. There are some good pet stores that actually have really good employees and good staff and well trained and a good manager that helps orchestrate it all, and then there are really bad ones too. And just because something bad happens at a bad one does not mean you need to go and yell at the good ones for the bad thing the bad one did. That was because of a bad manager at one store in one place. I do feel for these people because we do get harassed a lot about weird situations that happen at certain stores, things like that. So if you're gonna work there, you have to anticipate the fact that you are going to get some, you know, animal rights people upset with you. That's what's gonna happen because you're working at a chain pet store that isn't necessarily the best place for animals. That's gonna happen if you work there. Things like this continued to happen throughout the months, and I continued to defend my store and to defend the fact that our store takes good care of animals. The longer I stayed with the company, the more I started to agree with these angry people, and the more I started to think, you know what, there are things that need to be changed in this company. First thing was, wherever the heck we are getting our animals from, it is not okay. If you work at a chain pet store, again, I am not talking about a single specific pet store here, okay? Well, I'm talking about Pet Schmo from my experience, but there's other chain pet stores out there, and every chain pet store has this problem. Over the near 2 years I worked there, we continuously received animals in awful condition, okay? They were not in good condition at all. Now, I actually have no idea the actual direct source of these animals. There have been, you know, different rumors and speculations of the name of the breeders that supply the chain pet stores with animals. I don't know for sure. I don't know. They didn't come in a box like labeled where they came from or something. They came from a dude that carted them in and dropped them off and left. So I don't know exactly where these animals come from, but I do know that wherever it is, ain't good. I can honestly say the only ones that I really liked the conditions of, from what I saw at the store, most of the time were the ferrets. I don't know much. All I know is that they normally came in looking good. But the reptiles were in awful condition so often. They came in super skinny, they came in with arms and limbs paralyzed, they came in, the snakes always were covered in mites. I did not like the conditions of the animals, and this had nothing to do with our store at all. Our store took excellent care of our animals. Other stores I've been to have also taken really good care of their animals, but they come sick. They arrive to the store in terrible condition very often. I won't say more often than not because we did have a lot of healthy animals, but too often is my opinion. You know, they still came too often sick and not in good shape. So if you're going to work at a chain pet store, you have to understand that you are going to witness a lot of unhealthy animals, and you're going to witness not just unhealthy animals from the breeder, but you're going to witness a lot of people that come into the store and not take care of their animals to the fullest extent. They're going to want to buy, you know, the bird you have for sale, and they're going to want to put it in a little tiny cage, and you have to figure out if you can sell it or not. Like, so there's multiple reasons why, if you really are avidly in love with animals, working in a chain pet store is just gonna be like really rough on you. The thing that bothered me the most about reptiles specifically coming in such bad shape was the fact that whoever these breeders are, they are sending their best animals to their buyers. They're not going to send these businesses the worst looking animals, because then guess what? Business is no longer going to want the animals from that supplier, right? These breeders are sending us their best, and their best looks like that. And that is what is concerning to me, because what does the worst look like then? I do like the fact that any animal that got sick had to see the vet within the first 24 hours of, you know, if you see it sick, it has to see the vet that day. But the fact that they had to come sick in the first place, that really bothered me. The next thing that bothered me is the stocking of the animals. When you work in a chain pet store, you are going to see an insane amount of supply in the store. For example, generally in life, you want to keep one male mouse in a cage by himself, and that's it. Unless you neuter the mouse, he's not going to do well with other male mice. They are going to fight very often. So think about the fact that a male mouse is safest when he's on his own unless he's neutered. Then realize the fact that there are often 30 or more in one single 20-gallon tank at these chain pet stores. It's bad. But the thing is I do understand that, you know, there's, okay, 30 mice in one cage at a pet store, but 10 people will come in a day wanting a mouse. So I do understand the fact that, you know, they want to have that many because that's how many get sold, but I do think there should be other, you know, better standards for the care they undergo while being in the store. You know, they shouldn't be all put into one cage. You know, divide the cage. Just do something to just make it a little less awful for the animal. I mean, of course, that's just the mice. There's problems with each of the animals like that I've witnessed. You know, overstocking is pretty much for every animal at a chain pet store. They are severely overstocked. And again, that's the supply and demand. Like, they want to have that many because that's how many end up getting sold, but they need to do it in a more humane way, in my opinion. They need to make the cages, you know, they need to divide up the cages, they need to separate them, or they just need to keep a lower stock and just allow customers to like order them online and have them shipped to them. I don't know. All I know is that they should not be in those living conditions for as long as they have to be in pet stores. It does lead to illness and death, and just, it's not good for the animals. It's not. Ideally, like in my head, I would like for these chain pet stores to do a thing where like they either have like weekly adoption events for all kinds of animals, not just cats and dogs. In addition to that, or instead of that, they have only so many of each animal in the store, and if a customer likes them and they're out or they're running low, a customer can request for them to be ordered in. So they only get exactly what is being requested. But I do understand that if they did it that way, but the problem is if they did it that way, they lose a lot of their impulse buys. Okay, I said I only had 2 problems, but I just thought of a third and I need to include it. And the third one actually is basically just about working there. It's not about the company in itself, like the way the animals come or anything like that. It's just about the thing I hated about being employed there. Because most of the things I actually didn't mind. I loved my coworkers. My managers, for the most part, were awesome. I thought everyone that I worked with loved animals. I loved speaking with them. I made some really good friends there. It was a really good time. Many managers are going to play favorites about who can do what. Doesn't matter, you know, what your skill set is. If they like one person more, they're gonna have one person do one job over another. You can get hired there even if you don't know that much about animals. You can get hired at a pet store as long as you like animals and have a general understanding of how to take care of species. Like hamsters eat food. As long as you understand the concept of owning an animal and you love animals, you can get hired there. Which isn't bad, but this is where the problem with that idea comes in. At the stores I worked with at, it seemed a majority of the time, if you were a dude with big muscles, you were the people on the floor. That was the floor team. If you were a guy that had any sort of ability to lift things, you were on the floor, you were working on the floor. And then I noticed that the people who don't lift things and do a lot of heavy work were on the register. Now, when you're on the register at these stores, you aren't allowed to like go out into the store and help customers. You have to make calls and have other employees go and help these customers while you sit in front of a register all day. Now, I would say that of the 2 years that I worked there nearly, about 70% of the time I was on the register. Now, if you know anything about me and my channel, I feel like I know a decent amount about animals. I feel like I can help customers if they had questions with any kind of animal care. I feel like I would be able to provide them with knowledge about how to take care of their animal to the fullest extent. That's not how it worked in my store. I stood on the register and I checked people out pretty much always. And whenever I complained about it, they would get really, really mad at me and stop scheduling me. But here's why it bothered me. Here is why it bothered me. It wasn't because I wasn't the one educating people. It was because a lot of the time I knew so much more about the animals than the people on the floor. So I would sit there and watch these other employees give really inaccurate information about animals, and all I could do was ring the customer up when they were done. I saw people sell guinea pigs in hamster cages together. I've seen some really stupid things at that store that I could have easily educated these customers about, but it didn't matter because they wanted the people who were able to lift heavy items and stuff on the floor, and it kind of sucked. Now, let's say you didn't know something, like someone comes up to you and says, hey, what's the best cat food for my cat who has bad joints? And you don't know that answer. Other employees and managers would get so pissed off if you would have to go and direct the customer and give them over to the other employee. Like if you're like, I don't know, but maybe this employee does know. They would be so mad. They were like, don't do that. You handle it. So if you didn't know the answer to something, you were literally supposed to give your best guess. And it kind of sucked because I couldn't do that. I could not lie to them or make up or guess what I thought the best thing for an animal was. Like, I wanted it to be right. So no matter what, I would always go and find someone that I thought might know the answer better than me, and it pissed people off. Now again, I really do really like the people I worked with for the most part. I did complain about the fact that I was always on the register and that I thought it was unfair. I had people tell me like, oh, it's just cause you're, you know, you're cute and nice and friendly and pretty, and I was like, really? You're not gonna have me do things that I'm good at because of that? Really? So yeah, it bothered me, but a part of me is understanding. A part of me does believe that I would have been on the floor more if they had a better staff, because the hours were all crazy, and the hours that I had to work were hours where, you know, some things actually had to get done that I can't lift things. I can't. So I'm understanding, but I'm also kind of upset about it. Low key, high key. And those are my main complaints about working at a pet store and things you have to anticipate. It's not like you're gonna go there and have some fun handling animals and oh yay, it's so cute. It's a lot of drama, a lot of stress. They pick favorites, and you're gonna see some sick as heck animals. It's really important to realize that people that work at pet stores are not vets. You can't go there with every question you have and think they're going to give you the right answer, because they're not. They're not going to give you the right answer. More often than not, they're going to take a guess or tell you something that they read on the back of one of the products at the store. They don't all know what they're talking about. Some do. I mean, there were people at my store that knew what they were talking about, but a lot of people aren't. Please, if you have questions about your animals, don't go to the nearest pet store and ask, okay? Go online, do your research, study an animal and actually really understand it before getting it. Don't go to a pet store and point at an animal and say you want it and expect that these people are going to help you out and be 100% accurate. But with all of that being said, I still want to go back to my main opinion, is that I really liked who I worked with. I really thought the people I worked with cared for animals. I don't think people at pet stores hate animals. I do think that they can be ignorant to animal care. I do think that the store is in over its head, very overwhelmed with a lot of animal care procedures, trying to balance business with, you know, humanely caring for animals in such a large scale is hard, and I see that. They're having a hard time catching up. They're playing catch up. That's why I'm making this video, because I do think it's important to avoid buying from pet stores, because they do come from breeders. The animals from pet stores come from breeders that do not take care of the animals. And that's the problem. I understand that there will be exceptions. You go in there and you just have to get one because, oh my god, there's a connection. And that's okay. Like, you can't beat yourself up if it happens, because it will happen sometimes. But avoid it. That's all. Go to local pet stores, not chain pet stores, and that means, you know, stores that are family run and stores that just don't get these animals from mass chains, because there's a lot of problems with that. None of this is to say that I hate pet stores. I often buy products from there that I can't find other places, and I do think that the idea of a pet store is not bad, but the way they're going about doing it is bad. And I don't think it's intentionally bad. I don't think the companies hate animals and just care about business. I do think that these companies were created because people love animals, and people, that's great. It's great to love animals. Who doesn't love animals? I mean, seriously. With all this being said, I again go back to my very original thing I said in this video, is that I don't want to come at this from an angry point of view, where we're all just like, oh my god, I hate these companies, they're so evil, oh my god, let's shut them all down. No, because, you know, that's not going to do anything. It's not. Yelling about it, complaining about it, griping about it, it's not going to do anything. It's not. Nothing is going to change. These companies are going to go, oh, that's a few bad opinions, but look at all this money we're making. Like, it's not going to make any difference. And my ideal goal about all this would not be that these companies get shut down and that they're just no longer a business or anything. It's just that they change the way they do things, or they focus more on animal supplies rather than supplying the actual animal themselves. Like, there are ways that these companies can actually do really well. For example, Petco and PetSmart, I believe, both used to sell puppies from puppy mills. And now they don't do that anymore. Instead, every week they have local adoption events from local animal shelters, and they find millions of homes for puppies and kittens and things like that that wouldn't have homes and would be dead. So there are ways that these companies can benefit, like, greatly to the community. I just think they need to find some new ways to do things. That's all. So that's my opinion and my experience about working in a pet store. it wasn't all fun and games. A lot of people want to go work there because they think it's going to be just so fun, but there's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be a lot of issues, and it's not going to be perfect, but yeah, that's my experience. And again, this is just all my experience and my opinion. You are more than welcome to have different opinions. I'm not saying that I'm the only right person in this scenario. I'm not saying that every single pet store is exactly like this. I think it's all different on a store-to-store basis. I think some stores are great and some stores aren't so great. And this was more about the company as a whole rather than like every store is exactly like this or something. So anyway, yes, thank you guys so much. Petschmo, don't sue me because I think y'all guys are pretty cool. It's just, you know, y'all have some things you need to fix, and that's cool. I mean, we all have things to fix, and that's fine. And I was gonna say bye, but now I'm like finding more things to say, so I'm gonna stop waving. Thank you guys so much for subscribing and being so patient with me through all of my medical problems and just off days and things like that I've been having lately. I will be posting more information about the giveaway on my pet world. That I know y'all guys had a few questions about how it all works. I will be making more videos that talk about how to do all of that because I know some of y'all are still a little lost. But yeah, if y'all didn't know, there is a giveaway I'm doing for my subscribers. The winner gets a 29-gallon BioCube, the stand, it's brand new, and $250 of corals from Kingdom Aquatics. And it's all taking place on my pet world. If you go watch my previous video about it, it kind of gives you the rundown on things. But yeah, that's gonna be fun. And I do have a lot of videos planned. It's just a matter of feeling well enough to do them. So thank you guys for being patient with me. And I hope y'all guys had a wonderful Christmas and have a wonderful rest of the holidays. And for, you know, I just thank you guys for being patient. And thank you guys for being awesome. Because y'all guys are also sweet and also nice. And I love you all. And thank you. And bye. Bye.